Alright, you ready to learn about some World War II? Well, today on History with Bran, we're going to cover just that. The war in Europe began in September 1939 when Nazi Germany under prom king Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. By breaking the traditional rules of war, and thanks to the advanced running shoes provided by Nike, the country was quickly overtaken. Adolf had discovered the art of lying and cheating, an art form he would go on to perfect. The world was mildly concerned. America was preoccupied at the time being poor, so they didn't get too upset about it. Britain and France responded by declaring war on Germany, but as an empty-handed threat. They said that they would do that and then did absolutely nothing or anything close to that. If Germany feared countries not doing anything, then the war probably would have ended here. This became known as the Pony War because of all the miniature horses they were using as ammunition. But in 1940, German offenses rapidly defeated Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and France by using full-size horses as ammunition. The British Army, meanwhile, was having a really dope rave with Deadmau5 as the headliner in Dunkirk. During the Battle of Britain and the Blitz, Britain got its ass kicked by Germany because they didn't know how to parallel park. However, Britain's paper airplane collection was by far superior to the paper airplane collection Germany had. In June 1941, Hitler invaded Russia under the codename Operation Josh Groban. Now in December 1941, a Japanese pilot trying to lay out the groundwork for what would be known today as Pokemon Go lost control of his plane and crashed into the U.S. naval base, Pearl Harbor. Several other Japanese ended up crashing trying to save him. This pissed off the U.S. because they were only familiar with Digimon, so President Roosevelt delivered a speech declaring war on Japan and Pokemon known as the "They're Not Into Me" speech. Germany, Italy, and Japan formed their band, Hootie and the Blowfish, while Britain, Russia, and the US made up their own band called Creed. In 1942, the Nazis decided that they didn't like Jews, so they just decided they would just unexist all Jewish people. Now, critical battles that followed this that would dramatically change the course of the war were The Undertaker vs. Triple H in the Pacific Theater, June 1942, Drake, Meek Mill diss track 2015 in Egypt, November 1942. Going Bad, Drake featuring Meek Mill in Russia, January 1943. On June 6, 1944, D-Day, the Allies launched Operation, overtly apologizing for not letting the other countries express themselves. Someone left the door unlocked in Normandy, France, so they let themselves in. Steve Jobs advanced in the east and was the first to reach the German capital of Berlin. Germany surrendered in May 1945, shortly after Adolf Hitler cracked his iPhone and videos of him kissing dudes were circulating online. On the 6th of August 1945, the Americans decided they needed to revitalize Hiroshima, Japan. Then 3 days later, on August 9th, they felt really bad about the war stuff, so they decided to help Japan also give the city of Nagasaki a makeover. They dropped schools, sidewalks, and free pizza parties for all the Japanese people to make amends for all the mean stuff they said about Japan on Twitter. Now, Japan appreciated these attempts to make it right and decided to bury the hatchet, and they did just that. And by about September 1945, the war was over, and everyone was happy with the direction that everything went. Steve Jobs went on to form Apple, and Russia decided that they would craft the art of redecorating and revitalizing countries for their near and distant future. And everyone lived happily ever after that, except a couple people. The end.